So, good afternoon, everyone. So, for today, I and my group will discuss the chapter 10, the cognitive behavior therapy. So, first is what is cognitive behavior therapy? So, cognitive behavior therapy or CBT is a type of psychotherapeutic treatment that helps patients understand the thoughts and feelings that influence behaviors. So, meaning CBT is generally a short term and focus on helping clients to deal with a very specific problem. So, CBT is commonly used to treat wide range of disorder, including phobias, addiction, depression, and anxiety. So, the basic principle of cognitive behavior therapy is that our thoughts and feelings play a fundamental role in our behavior. So, the goal of cognitive behavior therapy is to teach patients that they can take control of how they interpret and deal with things in their environment. So there are a number of different approaches to CBT. So these types are rational, emotive therapy, cognitive therapy, behavior modification therapy. But we will focus on REBT, a type of cognitive behavior therapy that developed by psychologist Albert Ellis. So sino nga ba si Albert Ellis? So um, Albert Ellis, he was born in 1913 in Pittsburgh, and he went to New York at the age of 4 and lived there for the rest of his life. And according to him, as a child, he was hospitalized 9 times mainly with nephritis and developed renal glycosuria at the age of 19 and diabetes at the age of 40, and he died at the age of 93 in 2007. Albert Ellis decided to become a psychologist when he realized that he could counsel people skillfully and that he greatly enjoyed doing so. And also, he was analyzed and supervised by a training analyst. He then practiced psychoanalytically oriented psychotherapy, but eventually, he became disillusioned with the slow progress of his clients. He observed that the clients improved more quickly once they changed their ways of thinking about themselves and their problems. So early in 1955, he developed rational emotive behavior therapy or REBT. So he also has rightly been called the grandfather of cognitive behavior therapy until his illness during the last 2 years of his life, and he generally worked 16 hours a day. And he also married an Australian psychologist. They have the same life goals and ideals. So they work as a team, presenting workshop in many parts of the world. So next is what is rational emotive behavior therapy? So rational emotive behavior therapy or REBT was one of the first cognitive behavior therapies that continues to be a major cognitive behavioral approach today. So the basic assumption of REBT is that people create their own psychological problems by the way they interpret events and situations. So REBT is based on the assumptions that cognitions, emotions, and behaviors interact significantly and have a mutual cause and effect relationship. And also, Ellis argued that the psychoanalytic approach is sometimes very inefficient because people often seem to get worse instead of better. Ellis argued that argue how people disturb themselves. So according to him, people disturb themselves by the things that happen to them and by their views, feelings, and actions. So Ellis also gives credit to Adler as an influential precursor because Adler believed that our emotional reactions and lifestyle are associated with our basic beliefs and are therefore cognitively created. So REBT basic hypothesis is that our emotions stem mainly from our beliefs, evaluation, interpretation, and reactions to lifestyle. So there are rational beliefs and irrational beliefs. When you say rational beliefs are self-helping, meaning they are based on the beliefs people can follow to live healthy and satisfying lives. So they are they are based on what is most likely to work, and people who keep following this principle are more likely to achieve their goals. And when you say irrational beliefs are self-harming. So meaning they are based on the beliefs people may have about how the world should be, and they contain unrealistic expectation and are often most unlikely to work. So people who keep following these principles are more likely to live frustrating lives. So our emotional dilemmas and psychological problems are caused by how we perceive things and the way we interpret our thoughts and ideas, and how we evaluate events and situations in our lives. So, according to Elise, people are not disturbed by things, but rather by their views of things. If we always hold irrational beliefs about ourselves, then we would always find problems. In order for the clients to feel better, so the way they perceive things should be rational. Dispute the irrational way of thinking and replace them with more rational alternatives. So by the help of REBT, people are being guided to alter illogical beliefs and negative thinking patterns in order to overcome psychological problems and mental distress. So next is view of human nature. So REBT is based on the assumption that human beings are born with a potential for both rational or straight thinking and irrational or crooked thinking. So people have a predisposition for self-preservation, happiness, thinking and verbalizing, loving, uh, and self-actualization. And also, people have propensities for self-distractions, avoidance of thought, endless repetition of mistake, perfectionism, self-blame, and avoidance of actualizing growth potential. So humans are fallible. So REBT attempts to help people accept themselves as creatures who will continue to make mistakes, yet at the same time learn to live more at peace with themselves. So uh, in view of human nature belief, they assume that individuals have the capacity to be completely rational, irrational, which Ellis believes is biologically inherent. So, view of human nature thoughts believes that each human has the ability to control their thoughts, feelings, and action. However, an individual must first understand what they are telling themselves or self-talk about the event or situation. So, um, dito sa view of human nature, humans are both rational and irrational. People disturb themselves by what they think and what they believe. So people have the ability uh, to control thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. But they must first become aware of their self-talk, di ba yung self-talk, what they are telling themselves about the event or situation. So yung next natin is view of emotional disturbance. So dito naman, REBT is based on the premise that although we originally learn irrational beliefs from significant others during childhood, we create irrational dogmas by ourselves. So we do this by actively reinforcing self-defeating beliefs by the process of autosuggestion and repetition and behaving as if they are useful. So according to Elise, people don't need to be accepted and loved, even though this may be highly desirable. So the therapist teaches clients how to feel undepressed and they are unaccepted and unloved by someone. Although REBT encourages people to experience healthy feelings over being unaccepted, it attempts to help them find ways of overcoming unhealthy feelings of depression, anxiety, and loss of self-worth. So it is important that we learn to fully accept ourselves despite our imperfectionism, our imperfections. So Ellis hypothesizes that we have strong tendencies to rise our desire and preferences into dogmatic. Such demands create disruptive feelings and dysfunctional behaviors. So dito, sa next natin is Ellis places irrational beliefs into three categories correlated with emotional disturbance. So yung una is, sabi dito is, I must do well and win the approval of others for my performance or else I am no good. So yung result daw nito is pwedeng severe feelings of anxiety, depression, and demoralization, often leading to severe inhibition. Yung second naman natin is, um, other people must treat me considerately, fairly, kindly, and in exactly the way I want them to treat me. If they don't, they are no good and they deserve to be condemned and punished. So yung result neto is severe feelings of anger, fury, often leading to fights, child abuse, assault, rape, murder, and genocide. So yung last naman natin is, I must get what I want when I want it, and I must not get what I don't want. If I don't get what I want, it's terrible and I can stand it. So yung result neto is severe feelings of frustrations, tolerance, often leading to compulsion, addiction, avoidance, inhibition, and public reaction. So ito yung three categories na Ellis places in irrational beliefs correlated with emotional disturbance. So next is the ABC framework. So Ellis suggested that people mistakenly blame external events for unhappiness. So it is our interpretation of these events that truly lies at the heart of our psychological distress. So when you say activating, when you say activating event, it is something that happens in the environment around you. Yung B is the beliefs, meaning you hold a belief about the event or situation, rational or irrational. And then yung C is the consequence, meaning you have an emotional response to your belief. And D is for disputing. So as a result of disputing irrational belief, we will emerge with more rational alternatives. So E is the new effect or the consequence. So after disputing, eventually clients arrive at E, an effective philosophy which has a practical side. So F is the new set of feelings. So if we are successful in doing E, we also create F as a new set of feelings that are more desirable. So the ABC approach to understanding people, di ba, sa activating event, the person experience an actual event, activity, or adversity. So yung B, di ba, is yung the person responds to the event by interpreting it through their belief system. So yung consequence is the person then experience the consequential feeling. So the person's consequent feelings often depend on their belief system rather than the actual event. So people can therefore change by changing their belief system. So, example tayo, yung when you have irrational belief. Halimbawa, you are told by your boss that he is unhappy with your work because you have irrational belief. And then, syempre, yung result nito sa B is that you will feel or you that I am a failure. Then yung sa result ng consequence nito is you will feel anxiety and depression. So, compare sa if you have rational belief, halimbawa, sinabihan ka ng, yun nga, yung activating event is that you are told by your boss that he is unhappy with your work. So, yung result nito sa P is, syempre, rational belief siya, positive emotion. So, you will think, yung thoughts mo is that I did my best. So yung action, so yung result dito sa consequences is disappointed but confident that things will get better. So the activating event triggers an emotion that we believe to be true. So the consequence is that we become anxious and depressed because we have negative view about ourselves and our capability. So example, halimbawa ako, sa activating event, I fail a test. Dahil yung belief system ko is irrational, yung thoughts ko is that I am incompetent. So yung result ito sa consequences is that I will feel depressed, embarrassed, or other negative emotions. So according to Elise, interpretations is everything. So it's not what happens to us that creates our misery. So it's what we believe about what happens to us. So we can interpret any event according to rational, irrational beliefs. If our beliefs are irrational, then we will suffer greatly an undesirable consequence. So, but if our beliefs are generally rational, then we will suffer less and rebound faster, a more desirable consequences. So, meron pa tayo dito, yung the REBT approach to changing your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors and their consequences. So, dito, activating event, yung example is yung your son return home and goes to room without speaking. Siyempre, yung belief ng parents niya, yung attitude and act, yung expectation nila, yung son nila is rude. So, yung thoughts is that he is ungrateful and discourteous. So, may feeling of anger na. So yung result nito sa consequence have argument with son. And yung effect nito sa result is pwede both angry, both with the relationship damage. So dito, puro negative emotional, no? But if we dispute the irrational belief and we will emerge with more rational alternatives, then yung new result nito sa consequence can have a positive emotions. You will go to your sons and have a friendly talk with him kasi baka di ba may problem lang yung son, yung anak niya. And so yung result nito sa effect is build the relationship, confidence, and trust, both happy. So dito mapapansin nyo na when you have irrational belief, then you will suffer greatly undesirable consequences. But if you have a rational belief, then you will suffer less a more desirable consequence. So if we always hold irrational belief about ourselves, then we would always find problems. That is why we need to dispute irrational way of thinking and replace them with more rational alternatives to feel better. So next natin is yung therapeutic goals. So dito 'di ba, they teach the clients how to separate the evaluation of their behaviors from the evaluation of themselves, their essence and totality, and how to accept themselves in spite of their imperfections. So they minimize the client's emotional disturbance and self-defeating behaviors by acquiring a more realistic and workable philosophy of life. And also, they help clients differentiate between realistic and unrealistic goals, and also self-defeating and self-enhancing goals. They teach the clients how to change their dysfunctional emotions and behaviors into healthy ones. There are there are two main goals of REBT. So they assist the clients in the process of achieving unconditional self-acceptance and unconditional other acceptance, and to see how they are related. So next natin is yung therapy's function and rules. So dito naman, they dispute the client's irrational beliefs and encourage clients to engage in activities that will counter their self-defeating beliefs and to replace their rigid mass with preference. So they demonstrate how clients are keeping their emotional disturbance active by continuing to think illogically and unrealistically. So they help clients modify their thinking and minimize their irrational ideas, challenge clients and to develop a rational philosophy of life so that they can avoid becoming the victim of other irrational beliefs. So the therapist takes the mystery out of the therapeutic process, teaching clients about the cognitive hypothesis of disturbance and showing how faulty beliefs lead to negative consequences. So next natin is yung client's experience in therapy. So dito naman, clients are able to participate effectively in the cognitive restructuring process once they begin to accept that their beliefs are the primary cause of their emotions and behavior. So clients learn how to apply logical thoughts, participate in experiential exercises, and carry out behavioral homework as way to bring about change. So clients can realize the life does not always work out the way they would like it to. So clients are expected to work hard and carry out behavioral homework assignments so that they can learn to minimize faulty thinking, which leads to emotional and behavioral disturbance. So homework is carefully designed and agreed upon and is aimed at getting clients to carry out positive action that induce emotional and attitudinal change. So toward the end of therapy, clients review their progress, make plans, and identify strategies for dealing with continuing or potential problems. So next is yung relationship between therapists and clients. Dito naman, REBT practitioners unconditionally accept all clients and all teach them to unconditionally accept others and themselves. So REBT practitioners accept their clients as imperfect beings who can be helped through a variety of techniques such as teaching, bibliotherapy, and behavior modification. So Ellis builds a rapport with his clients by showing them that he has greatly faith in their ability to change themselves and that he has the tools to help them do this. So yung the primary goal of this is to help people realize that they can live more rational and productive lives. So with the help of rational emotive behavior therapy, people are being guided to alter illogical beliefs and negative thinking patterns in order to overcome psychological problems and mental distress. So So that is the end of my presentation. Miss Sharika Fanner will discuss the next topic. So thank you everyone and stay safe.